just because you're not good at one thing doesn't make you a bad applicant. Maybe you're bad at two things that are on that job list. Don't worry, that doesn't make you bad. Focus on the things that you are really good at. It's going to outweigh the bad. Welcome to the Game of Her Own podcast, a podcast about women who work in sports. I'm your host, Jahaan Blake. After 15 years of working for 3 major league teams, including the Boston Red Sox, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Chicago Cubs, I discovered the one thing I loved the most was helping women in sports shatter glass ceilings and take their seat at the table. I loved it so much that I made a business out of it. I have the honor of coaching high-performing women in the sports and entertainment industry and supporting them as they go after exactly what they want in their career. So if you are feeling tired of waiting on the sidelines, done being overlooked for promotions, and you're ready to pull ahead of the pack and take your career to the next level, girl, I'm here for it. I also created the Game of Her Own podcast to support you as well. We are here to share the stories of incredible women who work in sports and entertainment. These leaders and trailblazers will inspire you with their success and the lessons they've learned along the way to the top. Ladies, there is nothing like women empowering women. I am so honored you're here. All right, friends, it is no secret that the job market is hot right now. Like, it is insane the amount of jobs that I'm seeing that are coming across my desk for people asking for recommendations and people trying to take non-traditional routes to find the best talent. LinkedIn, everybody is posting and sharing jobs, which I think is great. And I'm sure there's the traditional routes as well. You know, LinkedIn always has job postings, but I think we're seeing things that are a little different this year in terms of people sharing it, as just talking about opportunities and trying to share it within groups and trying to just help people see the different opportunities that are out there. And then you have the traditional ones like, you know, Teamworks Online and whatever else is out there. So there's a lot going on. I also know that if you are looking for a job right now, whether you have a job or you're looking to get back into the job market, it's hard, right? Because yes, there are a lot of jobs. There's also a lot of people looking for jobs and looking for either pivoting, or I feel like that's the word of the year, but let's not say pivoting. Let's just say looking to, you know, make a change within their career, looking to for new opportunities. I don't know if it's COVID that did it to us and the time alone that we have. I'm going to say it is. A lot of people are thinking, I didn't love this job before, so I'm going to go find a job that I love because life is too short. This job didn't serve me well anymore, so it's time to make a change. Or maybe you're in the boat that, you know, you were let go because of COVID, right? Nothing to do with your talent, but you were let go and you're trying to get back into the industry that you love so much. So I know that right now you are submitting job applications, keeping your eye out, talking to your network, doing all the right things. But man, it's still so hard. You are putting yourself out there every single day. You are being vulnerable. You are being courageous and going after what you want. But it's still hard. It still takes a toll on you. And if you are working while you are looking for a job, that's even harder. It's like, you know, 2 full-time jobs, if you will, or a full-time job and a part-time job, depending on what your situation is. And I get it. I see you. I hear you. And I know it's tough. A couple of things I wanted to talk about today, and it's been on my mind just because of my clients, honestly, and just hearing some of the struggles that they're going through during their process of looking for a new role. And it made me think that I just wanted to talk about some of the things you should stop doing and some of the things you should start doing. The first one is stop comparing yourselves to others. Now, I know that's easier said than done, right? But what you need to start doing is shut down the noise. I had a client, or have a client, who she broke my heart. So here's what happened. She saw this job posting, didn't tell me about it until it was, you know, too late, but she saw this job posting and didn't apply for it because it was with a very, very attractive brand and it was a great job opportunity. But because she had been rejected and had been trying to find a job for so long, it was more of a mindset issue. She didn't apply for it. She psyched herself out before she didn't even take any action. She stopped herself from taking action. And now listen, I think we've all been there when either the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, imposter syndrome, all kind of, I don't know, sort of just get to us. And then we make a decision. That's not a smart decision in the time. At the time, you kind of feel like it's smart. You like convince yourself that it's the right thing to do. Been there, done that. But afterwards, you realize when you're talking to somebody else and getting outside perspective, you realize, oh, yeah, I don't know why I did that. Or actually, I know exactly why I did that. And I can't believe I let myself do that. I can't believe I psyched myself out. I'm sure you've been there. And my client was there. Is you start to compare yourself to like these made up people. You don't even know them. They're like invisible people that you don't even know. And you start to think about all the things that they have that you don't. I want you to shut down all the noise, right? It's almost like I want you to have tunnel vision for this. I want you to focus on what makes you great. What are the things that make you great? What is your zone of genius, right? Thinking about zone of genius, right? Think about what's natural to you. What are you naturally good at? When do you find yourself in flow, right? Like when nobody else, like you are just on, you have your A game and it's just coming naturally to you. And people are like, how did you do that? How did you come up with that? Think about those things. Think about what makes you great and what value you're going to bring to this organization. So when you have your eyes set on this job and you see a posting and you say to yourself, oh, that's my job. I can do that. Don't talk yourself out of it, right? Don't say, well, I don't know. I thought I can do this, but that one thing I can't do. This is probably not for me. I'm not going to hear from them. Don't psych yourself out. Make sure the things that you're saying to yourself, be kind to yourself. Think about when you're talking to a friend. Right? Just switch it up. Like if my friend was talking to me, would I say, I don't think you should go for that? No, you would psych them up and tell them to go. Okay. So I want you to start to shut down the noise. And you might have to think about where that noise is coming from. Is it because you're on social media? Now, I think social media has its benefits, but sometimes it can also start to hurt us and we don't even realize it. So are you spending a lot of time on LinkedIn and seeing all these announcements happening and starting to feel badly about yourself? Hey, it happens, but maybe you should take a break. And it's hard, right? Because I tell you to take a break, but then I'm like, God, people are posting on LinkedIn all the time. So it's just careful what you read. I know that I use Instagram for my job, but sometimes looking at Instagram all the time is just not good for me. And I will just sometimes I'm like, okay, all I'm going to do this week is post, engage with my community, and that's it. I'm not scrolling. I have a no scroll rule. Or if I'm going to scroll, I'm only reading things that are positive. If I see something, I'm like, I'm just going to keep going, right? So you got to figure out what works for you, but figure out where that noise is coming from and shut it down while you're looking for your next move. One thing I noticed that my clients have done, I've seen friends have done it, is that they start to downplay their excellence. And it's because we want to naturally, right, protect ourselves from being hurt. But that's not serving you. That's not helping you. You don't want to downplay your excellence. I want you to get clear on one, why you want this job. You hear me talk about this a lot. Get clear on what matters most. Get clear on why you want this job and why you think you will excel at it. And then hold on to that. Believe in what you're telling yourself. Just get very clear. Read that job description. If it excites you, then go for it. If there's one thing you can't do, let it go. It's okay. Not everyone is going to get 100% on the job description. If it was a test and you had to check, have you done this? No one's going to get 100%. No one does everything well, right? Let me say that differently. No one does everything perfectly. No one's going to have a perfect score when it comes to the job description, right? So focus on everything that you're good at and the things that you're not. That's your potential. Right? And if you're in a position where you're at a higher level, then you can hire people to do the things you're not good at. That's what I do. I know that when I'm in a mode of, I'm constantly just working on like the bigger picture and the vision, and I can't get bogged down in the day-to-day. I'm really bad at doing both of those things. If I want to be what I call in my zone of genius, I cannot focus on the smaller in the weeds things. Although I do like to do that stuff, but I got to let it go because I can't do both well. I can only do one of them really well. And the other one, something always takes a backseat, if you will. There's always something being sacrificed. So I hire a team to help me do the things that I'm not good at, right? So if you're in a position like that and there's something you read, you're like, I kind of know about this area enough to be dangerous, but I don't know it's okay. You can hire people, right? Or if it's a position where you can't hire people, you can learn from other people. One of the best things I learned early in my career was a colleague. He was hired at an executive level. And I believe I was a director, manager at the time. I don't remember. So he was hired at the executive level. And the first thing the president of the company did, this is for a Major League Baseball team. The first thing that the president did, they said, I want you to go visit, let's call it four companies that are best in class at customer service. And I want you to study them. I want you to interview them. I think it was back in the day before cell phones. So they took like a video camera and videotaped it, and he learned. So they hired this person as an executive and still said, go out and learn what the best are doing. So you can do that. That can be an approach when someone says to you, how are you going to make up for your lack of experience in this area? Boom, there's your answer. You're going to go benchmark and study others and come back. And that's going to help you. You'll be able to implement that at your organization. All right. So I want you to stop downplaying your excellence. Get clear on why you want the job, why you believe you will excel, why you believe you'll bring value, and just own it. Girl, I need you to own it. One thing we do, and I think when you apply for job after job, or maybe you just applied for one and you didn't hear back, but regardless, the constant no response is going to take a toll on your confidence. It happens to the best of us. But what we do is we need closure. And we don't have it. Nobody responded to me. Why didn't you respond? You want them to say like, okay, we didn't respond for X reason. And when you have that lack of closure, people start to make up a story. So I want you to stop making up a story why you weren't called back. Because the reality of it is, unless you hear directly from the hiring manager in a customized, personalized email to you as to why, you're never going to know. And let's be honest. These organizations, you've all been in positions or have watched your managers be in positions where they are trying to hire somebody. You don't have a lot of time, right? We have to prioritize. You don't always have time to write back to the people that you didn't hire, right? You got to focus on the most important thing at that moment. You have to focus on the priority. And so when you don't hear back or you get that general letter or email that, I don't know if people still get letters, but you get that general email that you know that more than one person got, and you're like, great, this says nothing to me. It's frustrating. So you make up a story as to why you didn't get a call back. This is when I want you to start just letting it go. I know it's easier said than done just to say, hey, it wasn't your job, right? Like, does that really bring you any comfort or closure? Not really, but you have to keep going. So I want you to just let it go. I know that sounds so easy, Jahaan. Oh, just let it go. But you got to move on. If you need to journal about it, right? If you need to do some exercise to work on your confidence, I have a worksheet that I will link to in the show notes that will help you just kind of work on your mindset, right? Because a lot of this, it's a game, you guys. And a lot of this game is your mindset and your emotional intelligence. So I will link to the exercise that I have that helps you work through that sort of any self-doubt or imposter syndrome that's creeping in. This worksheet will help you. I also link to a few episodes. There's episode number 36 with Hannah Huseman, and it's called The Best Place to Gain Your Confidence. So that's a great one, right? Another thing is we make up a story about, well, my resume wasn't good enough. I've done it 20 times, or I can't write a resume. I've heard that one a lot. Or I can't write a cover letter. That is not my area of expertise. I've heard that a lot. I am one of those people. For some reason, and this is back in the day when I was trying to like put my stuff together, telling the story of who I am, all of a sudden there's so much pressure, right? You want the job so bad that you almost psych yourself out and you need some outside support. So I will link to another episode, which is Communicating Your Value with Sarah Salam. And that's episode number 57. And she talks about how to communicate your value. But the great thing about Sarah is you can also hire her. So if you have the money to invest in someone writing your resume or writing your cover letter, or maybe even your LinkedIn profile, right? Maybe that needs a little work. That's something Sarah does. So not only does she give you some great tips, free tips in the episode, she also can do the work for you. So I know that if I was in that position, I would bring on someone to help me because I know that that's where I get stuck. Okay. But going back to making up the story, I kind of went off on a tangent there because I thought of Sarah and I thought that would be helpful for you. But when it comes to making up that story, be careful of what you're telling yourself. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't hear back. I'm going to tell you this, and this is embarrassing. I still feel bad that I haven't done this, but I hired a virtual assistant and I did a whole interview process and 60 people applied. I narrowed them down to the final 7 and then interviewed them all. And not only did I still to this day, this was back in, the winter. So to this day, I still have not emailed everybody that reached out to me and applied. It just got lost. I honestly had nothing to do with anything other than, my one VA had to cut back her hours. So I was like drowning in work and it wasn't a priority to write back. And then it got to the point where it was like embarrassing that if I wrote back, and now I just never did. And so now I'm that person and I'm mad at myself for doing that. But I tell you that story, not for pity, just to know that it happens, that people just don't respond back. Maybe they hired someone internally. You don't know. Maybe you weren't the right fit for that job. And that's simply it. Maybe your talent was like, oh, this person's really good, but this isn't exactly what we're looking for. But gosh, I wish I could hire them from something else. That happens to me all the time. When I was with the Cubs, there are people that I wanted to hire on full time. There were people that I wanted to bring on, but it just wasn't the right fit. But I wanted to bring them on for other roles, but they didn't have what I needed right then and there. So stop making up a story why you weren't called back. I get it. I understand why we naturally want to do this for the closure, but I want you to start focusing on your own mindset, right? Just get it out. If you need to call a friend, if you need to call me, you could set up a 20-minute free consult. I'll put that in the show notes. Journal it out. Use the exercise that I told you about that really helps you with your mindset, helps you with self-doubt, and helps you with imposter syndrome. Or click on the links for any of those episodes that I just told you about. Really, I love the one with Hannah Huseman and the best place to gain your self-confidence. She's so good and she's going to leave you feeling super inspired. And if you've already listened to that episode, it's worth listening to again. One other thing and I'm only going to talk about 4 because we could talk about a lot, but I'm just going to go on the 4 that I think are top of mind right now because of the work that I've been doing with my clients. It's focusing on your weakness and trying to make that a strength, and trying to make it a strength between the time you apply and by the time you interview. No. Focus on your strengths. Forget your weaknesses. They're there. And you could talk about, this is my weakness and here's what I'm doing to work on it. But you're not going to change that, between the time you apply and you have an interview. Don't let it psych you out either, right? Back to the client who psyched herself out. Don't do that. Don't tell yourself no. You deserve an interview. Right? You deserve to have a job that you love, right? You deserve it. Just because you're not good at one thing doesn't make you a bad applicant. Maybe you're bad at 2 things that are on that job list. Don't worry. That doesn't make you bad. Focus on the things that you are really good at. It's going to outweigh the bad. What I want you to start doing is focusing on the things that you're good at and how you tell that story, right? How do you tell the story of why you are so good for this organization? How do you tell the story of the value that you bring to the table? That's what you want to start focusing on. So it could be a portfolio. Right? It could be, one that you make. You can make it in PowerPoint or Canva. Do Canva. Canva's so much better. You can do it in Canva and make it a PDF. Canva is, they have free options. So give it a shot. And they also have paid, but you don't have to have a paid version of it to make great documents. You 100% can use the free. You can make a website. I know that my website I pay someone to do it, but I know there's some services out there that are very affordable that you can just make it on your own if that's the type of person you are, if you are creative. I am not when it comes to those things. So I opt to pay somebody. So if I was still, working for a sports organization, I 100% to stand out, I would 100% pay somebody to either create a portfolio for me or create a website for me. I would try to find something that was very affordable, but I would 100% pay somebody, because what happens is, for me personally, I get bogged down in all those details and I cannot stay big picture. I get super lost in it, and it's really difficult for me. So I'm better if I tell you what I want, you create it, then you show it to me and I react to it and I come up with the final product and it looks, what I think, it looks great. I love the website that I have now. If I tried to create it for myself, it would not have looked that good. If you're not creative, but there's something you want to do, work with a friend. If you can skip a brunch or two and save a little bit of money and work on it, pay someone to help you, it's 100% worth it. Another option to focus on your strengths and to tell that story to the people who are going to hire you is focus on your testimonials, right? You can call it a letter of recommendation, you can call it a testimonial, whatever you want to call it, and getting those from people now. And I think you have to do it in a creative way. No one wants to read a whole letter anymore. So even if you got a couple of quotes from some people that you have worked for or worked with, you can put those into your cover letter, into your portfolio, again, focusing on the things that you did well. So that's something that I love to work on with my clients, is putting those things together. So depending on what you do and what you want to do in the future, what works best for you. And I love helping them customize it and put it together and give them feedback. And if you don't have a coach to do that and you don't have a mentor to do that, I'm sure you have a friend in the industry that would help you. And then if you want to get feedback from me, you know where to find me. I will link in the show notes. We can have a 20-minute free call. And I love meeting people. I say this all the time. I love hearing from you. So you can 100% set up a call with me to talk, and we can figure out, one, if it makes sense for us to work together, right? Like, is this the right fit? Is this what you need? And two, I'm happy to just give a sneak peek and give you some initial feedback for, any portfolios that you are creating. Okay, so we went over some things that I want you to stop doing when it comes to the interview process and things I want you to start doing when it comes to the interview process. This is all about how to make sure that you show up as the badass that you are. Quick recap: stop comparing yourselves to others. Stop psyching yourself out from these people that you make up in your head that are better than you, right? I want you to start shutting out the noise and focus on what makes you great. Focus on your zone of genius. I want you to stop downplaying your excellence. Stop it. I know you're good. I see my clients have this transformation of believing in themselves, but consistently every single day, and becoming leaders and making sure that their voice is being heard, right? So I want you to stop downplaying your excellence. And I want you to get clear on why you want that job that you saw, right? And why you think you would excel. And make sure you tell that story. That's so important. Okay, I want you to stop making up a story on why you weren't called back. I know it's hard. I know you want the closure. I know you want the email that says, hey, we want to interview you, but it's not going to happen all the time. It's not going to happen every time that you apply for a job. And I understand, I said this before, I understand how frustrating it is. I want you to focus on managing your mindset, right? And again, I have a worksheet that will help you with that. Link to it in the show notes. And you guys, just in case you don't know, I say show notes all the time, and I'm assuming people know, but just in case you don't, just scroll down in the episode. There might be a more button, click more. And then there's this whole bunch of stuff down there that tells you about the episode, gives you links to things. And when I say links in the show notes, that's that. And then the last thing is focusing on your weaknesses. Don't worry about it. Don't focus on your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths, the things that make you amazing, and then learn how to tell that story in a way that helps you stand out. Focus on what makes you great and tell that in a story, whether it's in a portfolio, a website, testimonial, whatever, in your cover letter. Focus on what makes you so amazing. That's what I want you to do when it comes to the interview process. This is for you to show up as the badass that you are. I want you to be confident going into it. And it takes some work. It's not easy. If it was easy, I wouldn't be here with this episode, right? You wouldn't hear from people that are mindset coaches. You wouldn't hear from people like Hannah Huseman when she talks about the best place to gain your confidence. It's something we all struggle with. The people who succeed in this area are the people who constantly put in the work. It's hard work. It really is. That's why people say it's like a full-time job trying to look for another job. I get it. And while I'm not looking for a job, I have been there and I've been in your shoes and I totally understand where you're coming from. All right, friends, I gave you some strategies to get started or to help support you wherever you are now. If you need more, you know where to find me, but keep going. Don't stop because we need you out there. I love looking at all of the women who are out there just crushing it. Right? We are out there putting ourselves out there in the sports industry, making our name for ourselves, showing that women should be in sports. And that's not why we do it, but that's what's happening. And we're inspiring other people, other women to do the same. Keep going. We are here for each other. I am here for you guys. Please reach out. Let me know how I can help you and how I can support you as you go after exactly what you want. So what did you think of this episode? Do you know another woman who works or is aspiring to work in sports? Would you do me a favor and share this with them? It would mean so much if together we could support and inspire other women on their journey. And let's stay connected. I love meeting and talking to new people. Follow me on Instagram at Jahaan Blake and join the free Game of Her Own community by visiting jahaanblake.com. I can't wait to meet you.